They say the Appalachian Mountains hold secrets that the modern world has forgotten. I never believed in those stories. Until last Friday, it was 2:45 a.m. I was driving back from a long shift, and my fuel light had been glowing red for the last 20 miles. The road was a dark ribbon of asphalt, swallowed by ancient trees on both sides. Just as I thought I'd be walking the rest of the way, I saw it. A faint, flickering neon sign up ahead, Tux Gas and Diesel. It looked old, like something out of the 1970s. The pumps were rusted, and the store windows were covered in a layer of thick gray dust. But the lights were on, so I pulled in. I just needed enough gas to get home. I stepped out of the car, and the silence was deafening. No crickets, no wind, just the low electrical hum of the old neon sign. I felt like I was standing in a photograph. I walked up to the pump and picked up the nozzle, but when I looked at the digital screen, there were no numbers. It just said one word in glowing green letters, repeating. I thought it was a glitch. I turned toward the store entrance to find the attendant, but as I reached for the door handle, I froze. In the reflection of the glass, I saw my car, but I also saw myself. Still sitting in the driver's seat, staring straight ahead at the road as if I had never stopped. My heart stopped. The me inside the car slowly turned his head and looked directly at me with a wide, unnatural grin. I blinked, and suddenly I was back in my car driving on the same dark road. I looked at the clock. It was 2:45 a.m. And then up ahead I saw the same flickering neon sign, Tux Gas and Diesel. I was trapped. My hands were shaking as I gripped the steering wheel. The clock on my dashboard still read 2:45 a.m. I tried to speed past the gas station, hoping that if I just kept driving, the nightmare would end. But 10 minutes later, the same rusted pumps and the same flickering neon sign appeared out of the darkness. Tux Gas and Diesel again. I slammed on the brakes and screamed into the emptiness. I had no choice. I stepped out of the car, but this time, the air felt heavy, like I was walking underwater. I walked straight to the store entrance. I didn't look at the reflection in the glass this time. I couldn't bear to see that grinning version of myself again. I pushed the door open. A bell chimed, but the sound was distorted like a slowed-down record. Inside, the shelves were filled with cans of food that had no labels. The calendar on the wall was stuck on October 1974. From the back of the store, I heard a wet, dragging sound. Step, drag, step, drag. I backed away from the door, my heart hammering against my ribs. The faceless man, Tuck, stood perfectly still, but the air around him was vibrating with a low, humming sound. Outside, the other me reached the door. He pressed his bloody hand against the glass, leaving a crimson smear that began to glow in the dark. "Fill the tank," Tuck's voice echoed in my skull again, "or stay in 1974 forever." I realized then that this wasn't just a gas station. It was a trap for lost souls. I grabbed a heavy metal flashlight from the counter and smashed the glass door. The sound was like a gunshot in the silent night. I ran past the bleeding version of myself who let out a bone-chilling shriek that didn't sound human. I scrambled to the gas pump. The screen still said, repeating. I grabbed the nozzle and jammed it into my car's tank. I didn't care about the price or the smell of fuel. I just squeezed the handle. The numbers on the pump started spinning backward. Years, months, days flying past like a blur. 1990, 2005, 2024. Suddenly the neon lights exploded. Total darkness swallowed everything. I felt a cold hand grab my shoulder, and I screamed as loud as I could. I woke up with a jolt. I was in my car parked on the shoulder of the highway. The sun was just beginning to rise over the Appalachian Mountains. My fuel gauge was full. I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking it was all just a vivid nightmare. But then I looked at the passenger seat. There was an old, rusted gas cap sitting there, and a small written receipt dated the 12th of October. 1974.